Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today after Gemini 888, after his live YouTube hangout, whatever you want to call it. I was all fired up. Thought I'd make a good old WWE DVD review from back in the day. And I chose this one because this is a very interesting DVD that doesn't really get talked about that much. It's not that it's rare, it's not. Um, it's just sort of funny in my mind that Jeff Hardy got his own DVD in 2009. This actually came out after his, I was going to say his release, but after his contract expired and after he decided that he was going to go home and pursue other interests. Jeff Hardy has always been I wasn't even going to say controversial, but he's always been sort of a different kind of guy. He loves wrestling. He likes to wrestle. It's what he's made his profession at. It's what he's made the most money in his life at. But he's got outside interests, whether that's dirt biking, where he broke his leg last year, or whether if it's painting or music. Wrestling isn't the only thing in his bag, and he decided that he was going to take a break, and very shortly after his last match on SmackDown, he went home to, I guess you can say, enjoy his retirement. And his home was raided, and the cops found drugs, and he got in a lot of trouble. It's one of the reasons why when TNA goes on their biggest tour of the year to the UK, it's one of the reasons why Jeff Hardy isn't allowed to go on it. There's still a lot of problems that still fall back all the way back to 2009 and everything that came along with it. But honestly, in my mind, the Jeff Hardy My Life, My Rules DVD is very interesting because of the fact he was one of the most over guys in the wrestling business. I think in 2009, he was definitely the number 2 guy in the business, right behind John Cena. But very rarely do guys get DVDs released on them in back-to-back years. One of the most popular releases of 2008 was the Twist of Fate, Matt and Jeff Hardy story about Jeff returning back to the company and becoming a part of the WWE again. After leaving, I believe, back in 2002, he would wrestle for TNA for a while, get himself clean, and then come back to the wrestling business. Jeff Hardy has never really been one about living life out on the road. I'm sure that he seems to pull off a very clean lifestyle now since Victory Road was at 2010. The match against him and Sting, where he would go and get cleaned up after that. And he's always seemed like he's been a real big model citizen since then. But very interesting about this fact is that, we get a DVD the year before about Jeff coming back and reuniting the Hardy Boys with him and Matt. But, then the next year, we would get a DVD that basically chronologically follows Jeff Hardy into the day he walks out the door on the company. Guys have got DVDs made on them once they leave the company, but for the most part, they don't really, follow up on guys that are going to work somewhere else or just flat out leaving the business altogether because they don't really want to be highlighting somebody that's working for another company. I believe this DVD would come out before Jeff Hardy would sign with TNA in 2010, a part of the first live Impact, a part of the Monday Night Wars TNA versus WWE that didn't really last that long. But very, very fun, interesting DVD here. A lot of this we're going to be looking at basically the insert here because of the way the DVDs were back in the day. They don't have the matches written on them, but lots of interesting pictures, very good color scheme here. There is the Hardy Boys coming off the top of the ladders right there onto the Dudleys, part of this TLC Classics. We see, looks like Jeff jumping off the top of... No, that's not the top of the cage. That's when he jumped off that scaffolding on the Raw set onto Randy Orton, a part of that big Royal Rumble match they had back in the day. That was sort of the one thing that really highlighted and put it himself over. But there's Jeff jumping off. Looks like the same picture on all 3 discs. And here is your insert. This DVD sort of picks up right where the Twist of Fate left off. It does go over the part of Jeff returning to the company again. It looks like you're following around Jeff Hardy throughout the day on his last day in WWF. August 25th, 2009 would be his last match on SmackDown against CM Punk. Following on here, we have Jeff and Matt reuniting as the Hardys. Of course, that run would they'd have some good matches against Eminem. They would be on the December to Dismember ECW pay-per-view as one of the reasons to watch those. I think when Jeff and Matt won the titles, it was a part of the build-up of John Cena versus Shawn Michaels when they were tag team champions, and they had to get the titles off in one way or another, and they had that dreaded tag team battle royal, and finally the Hardys came out there as sort of a surprise, and they were the ones who were able to eliminate. I think that Shawn and Cena eliminated themselves basically, and the Hardys were just sort of standing there. But the match just kept on getting started over and over and over again by, I believe, the coach at the time. Opportunity Knocks, Dark Days, The Road to Redemption, Sacrifice is Rewarded. Oh, God. Brother versus Brother, WrestleMania 25. People just don't want to see the Hardys fight, and I think that's what TNA is building up to as of right now. And Matt is on a roll. Matt's hitting it out of the park every time, but I don't know if Jeff versus Matt is what anybody wants to see. Living for the Moments in Jeff's Omega. Very cool in here. If you look through the special features there, you see Jeff riding motocross, his art gallery, a lot of the things he likes to do outside of the ring. They even put over Willow from Omega back in the day. And they put over the Hardy Show, which is Matt Hardy's reality show that he makes his own DVDs and sells it on his website. Very cool for them to plug that. Jeff Hardy versus 1-2-3 Kid on Superstars back in 1994. The Triangle Ladder Match for the tag team titles. So it's not all about that run of 2009. It's a lot of the classic stuff back in the day. Still with the Hardy Boys, but you see the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian at WrestleMania 2000. The Hardys versus Edge and Christian at Unforgiven 2000 in a steel cage match. We got Jeff versus Mike Awesome on SmackDown for the Hardcore Championship. Jeff versus Rob Van Dam. A ladder match for the Hardcore Championship. Jeff versus Matt Hardy in Vengeance 2001. Jeff and Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho and Christian on Raw in 2003. We've got Jeff Hardy versus Edge on Raw in 2006. So I guess he did come back in 2006. It didn't make a lot of sense that he would come back in 2008. I remember him coming back. He got a huge ovation. I don't think anybody really knew that he was coming back. Then we've got Jeff Hardy versus Johnny Nitro for the IC belt in 2006. The Hardys versus Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, Backlash 2007. Jeff Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin versus Santino versus William Regal. Then we got Jeff versus Shelton Benjamin, 2007. Ladder match, Jeff versus Carlito in 2007. Winner receives a WWF Championship match at the Royal Rumble. That'd be Jeff Hardy against Triple H, Armageddon 2007. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton IC match. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship at Royal Rumble 2008. Then we have Jeff Hardy versus Shawn Michaels at Raw in 2008. Then we'll flip over to Falls Count Anywhere. Jeff Hardy versus Umaga, One Night Stand. Very, very good match. Jeff Hardy versus John Cena, number one contenders match for the WWE Championship, Raw in 2009. Jeff Hardy versus John Morrison. Jeff Hardy versus Triple H at No Mercy for the WWE Championship. Extreme Rules match between Undertaker and Jeff Hardy on SmackDown of 2008. Triple Threat match for the WWE Championship, Jeff Hardy versus Triple H versus Edge, Armageddon 2008. Extreme Rules match, Jeff Hardy versus Dolph Ziggler on Raw in 2009. A stretcher match between Jeff and Matt on SmackDown 2009. Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk 2009. Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk, the farewell match. Steel cage match that was held on SmackDown. That would be August of 2009. That would be him leaving the company, and he would debut for TNA in 2010. This is a really good DVD. I always have trouble putting these inserts back in there, but flip this bad boy over to see the cover one more time. Jeff Hardy, My Life, My Rules. It is on the WWE Network, but you won't get all those matches, and you won't get all those special features that are featured on the DVD. I don't blame you if you don't pick it up, but this is a good one for your collection. You know, they really don't do biographies on guys going out the door, and this does really cover Jeff. I know that when he left WWE in 2009, that the plan was go home, get healed up, and then come back in a little while, but instead he chose to go wrestle for TNA, taking the lesser, I wasn't going to say lesser role, but less dates, I guess, is the one thing, for about the same amount of money. And he's been a big star for them from 2010 all the way till now in 2016, and just re-signed a deal to stay with them for either another year or maybe even 2 years. But I think before it's all said and done, we're going to see Jeff in WWE at least one more time in his career.